Good morning. Welcome to this morning service. I hope you're all staying cool. It's been very, very hot, and it is becoming an increasing concern. So please stay cool, hydrate. This morning was pretty exciting with all of the thunder and lightning, but got to stand out in the rain for a little bit. It's been such a long time that we have had even a little bit of rainfall, so it was very nice. Again, welcome to this morning's service. We'll begin with Sambujo and the reading of Juseige. If you'll please join us now in Sambujo and Juseige. 세이브 조셔나 니여 그 진션엔 저에 셔방여 시금어 저도 이셔텐님심 짐니기엔 나이고 버셔머 사이노 저저상금여 거사이셔야금난 가이지에겐 메시코모안 해성셔아금난 저다트센셔먼 거서저만선 이여러 제법 니칭나트셔저김 땡권풍엠 이슈카요서 어세컨너구호 저어너이슈저 샘머시신거 거여이사이벗 너성어셔터무헌 단내시트조만 더그이상나이오 영은트멍의 집 서다틈니 퍼쇼 난나그에리 도시사쇼손 신난약곡가 다이센노간도 거그쇼텐님 If you would please join now in the reading of the three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves our supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of thy doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Again, welcome to this morning's service. I hope everyone, again, is being able to stay cool in this very, not just hot, but now humid weather. It was kind of exciting to be in the rain just for a little while, experiencing something that we haven't had for a very long time. But it's also another very momentous occasion, a time that we should all be especially mindful of, and a time in which we should truly celebrate. It is the first anniversary since Mikami Sensei came to the San Jose Betsuin. It's almost exactly, I think you came on the 16th, yes. So it's exactly a year ago that Mikami Sensei joined us here at the Betsuin. I wish I had some funny stories to tell. Unfortunately, the funny stories relate to my behavior more than Mikami Sensei. After she came, one of the things that I wanted to do was to learn from her. All of these fresh memories that she has now of being in Japan, studying at Chubutsu, and teaching others about the Saho, about the rituals that are practiced in the Hongnan-ji, and to try to learn them as best as I can, relearn them as best I can. It's been many years since we were able to learn directly from the Hongnan-ji, these practices. There are several people, several ministers within the BCA who are actually certified to teach Saho, the rituals of the Hongnan-ji. But Mikami Sensei, being so close to what she learned at Chubutsu, I thought I'd try and learn from her as best I can how the traditions are observed and practiced in the Hongnan-ji. One of the things I wanted to do was to use our daiban. So on special occasions, we would put out in our onaijin this area right in front of the Maijoku, where just beyond that is the image of Amida Buddha. But an daiban is a special seat and 3 tables that are arranged in front of the chosho, and a ceremony, a brief ceremony is conducted, and usually on these special occasions. So I thought, maybe Ho'onko might be a good time to do this. And so we have a beautiful raiban, and so we brought that out. And of course, the onaijing, the uchishiki was brought out. And this was in, what month was that? Ho'onko, January, sure. January. So we brought out, in Ho'onko, traditionally we here at the Betsuing, we put out the uchishiki. So the naijing was beautifully arranged with the uchishiki. And in addition to that, we brought out the raiban. And it too has this beautiful uchishiki on the table directly in front of the chosho. And we practiced, and Mikami Sensei corrected, well, not really corrected, she actually had to instruct me on how to do toraiba, how to come in, how to, the ritual that was necessary before entering and taking a seat, and when you sit, the various kind of gestures or things that we have to do in that position. And I thought, okay, I can do this. And I came in, and my knees are so bad. When you do toraiba, the first thing you do is when you come in, you have to go and squat, and then pick up the incenser, and then stand and do this twice, I think, no, twice. I can still. But you do this, and you have to squat. And my squat now is more like a go a little bit down and bend over. So really, kind of mittomonai. It's not a very good appearance. When you see an actual person doing this properly, it looks very nice. You go all the way down, and then you come back up again. All the way down, and come back up again. Mine was kind of like a but so I thought, okay, I'm going to practice squatting. I don't know, maybe next time we do toraiban, we'll have to have Mikami Sensei do toraiban, because I don't know if my knees will ever recover from all the abuse that it's been subjected to over the years. But this first anniversary on the a year ago, it's hard to imagine that it's been already a year. And half of that time has been in shutdown. We've had to quarantine ourselves for the past 6 months. And so there's been little opportunities, well, there's been a lot of things that have been going on as we become more accustomed to conducting not just services, but doing the things that we normally do while the temple is open. And we're becoming more used to that. And so we're able to kind of do the kinds of things that we were able to do before. It's just not in person. Everything is being done remotely. And as we mentioned last time, Dharma School this year will be all online. And I hope you'll take advantage of that and let people know, so you don't have to be even in the area. You can participate in these activities, because everything's going to be remote learning, a remote experience. Hopefully it can be an experience that is still meaningful, something in which we can learn about the Dharma, learn to share about the Dharma, but this opportunity to be able to share the Dharma remotely. We had been doing streaming our Sunday morning services, but now everything is going to be online. So even our Scout program, they are organizing remotely and having their meetings, and their Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, they're all organizing. The YBA has been doing remote meetings. The challenge is, of course, trying to find out what kinds of things we can do online. I mean, we're limited, of course, that we're not able to be in person. So there's things that we can't do, but there are certainly many things that we can do. Lotus Preschool has been online now for several weeks. We meet every morning with the students. We do a very brief service as we used to do when they were here in person. They would come over every morning at 10 o'clock, and we hold a brief service here in Hondo, read the Golden Chain together, and then sing a song, and they would go back to class. We do the same thing. We don't do sutra chanting, but we do a Golden Chain together, and we sing a song, and the students all participate via Zoom. But I'm learning from that experience too. One of the things that the preschool does is they use videos. And this was one of the suggestions that Mas Nishimura had in one of our brainstorming services to meetings, to introduce these kinds of things into our regular service, into our Dharma school service, our 9:30 service, to bring in stories, to bring in visual aids into our program here at the Betsuing. So as we as we need to conduct these activities online, at first it seemed very limiting, that it's a kind of a restriction that would not allow us to do the kinds of things that we would normally do. But we're finding that there are opportunities in this. And our Obon at home reminded us of how when we utilize these new tools, that we can actually reach a great many people and to share the Dharma very broadly. And I hope you will participate in that as much as you can, and share with others this opportunity to be a part of the programs here at the Betsuing. We have a lot of meetings, so many meetings, and not just here at the Betsuing. On Friday I was at a IBS meeting, and that went from 10 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yesterday, Saturday, was an endowment foundation meeting that I participated that ended a little earlier, but it started at 9, so it started a little earlier too. And we have our regular board meetings, and I mean, there are so many meetings that we have now online, and sometimes it's almost too convenient to be able to convene a meeting because we all think, everybody has time. Also, everybody's just sitting at home watching television or YouTube. But we schedule a lot of services now using these video conferencing tools. So it's been a real change. And when Mikami Sensei came a year ago, she was staying in the cottage, across the street. And the cottage had been used for many different things. There was a tenant there when I arrived more than 30 years ago. Since then, I don't think anybody has lived there. But, I think Mukojima Sensei stayed there for a while. Hirano Sensei may have stayed there for a while also. That's why it's called the Hirano House, sometimes called the Hirano House, because he may have stayed there for a little while. And then, in the past few years, it was used as a place for, maybe I shouldn't say this, but preparations for Obon. I'll be as vague as possible. Preparations for Obon were also taking place in that house. So nobody really lived there, on a regular basis for a long time. And then when Mikami Sensei arrived, we thought that would be a place that she could at least initially stay and make a decision as to where she wanted to stay more, to settle into. And the Salt Lake Courthouse was opened. That's where Nima Fujimoto stayed. And so that was vacant. But there were also an opportunity to stay at the Miraido village here in Japantown. And they offered us a rate that was very reasonable. And so Mikami Sensei had to decide whether to go into a 4-bedroom, 2-story house all by herself, far away from the Beijing, or into an apartment here in Miraido. And wisely, she chose the Miraido apartment, where she can, well, previously, she still can walk out her front door, go to Nijiya, and pick up whatever she needs. But it's so much more convenient here in Japantown than at the Salt Lake courthouse. So she's become not just an integral part of the Beijing, of course, with all of the things that we have been doing in this year that she's been here, but also an integral part of the Japantown community. And so it's really wonderful to have her here, to be a part of the Beijing. Kathy and I were talking about this the other day, and I think it was in reference to a thank you card, a thank you email that Mikami Sensei had sent out. And Kathy was saying, it's really nice the way how she sends that out, and the language that Mikami Sensei uses. And my response to Kathy was, yeah, because up until now it's just been a bunch of old men that have been the ministers here at the temple. Now you have somebody as young and able to carry herself and to present herself and to do these kinds of things that us old guys were never so aware of, perhaps. So in addition to the resource that she brings, she also brings that personality, and kind of helps to bring life to the Beijing. So this 16th of August, exactly a year since Mikami Sensei joined us, and it has been an interesting time. Shortly after she arrived, there was a Kalapana, on one Sunday, there was a Kalapana concert, there was a Shukai, which is a car show in Japantown, and we had a guy arrested in our office. All on one day. It was, that was all one day. So, exciting times here at the Beijing. And people say it's, we're not very exciting here at the Beijing. But I hope Mikami Sensei will stay here, and I'm sure there are others that share the same feelings, that Mikami Sensei will stay here at the Beijing, at least for a while, if not for a long while, to share with us her appreciation of the Dharma, and to share with us her enjoyment with the Dharma. I had actually prepared material to share with you this morning, because I've been reading this book called Genpei War, kind of totally different from what I spoke about this morning. And the reason I wanted to talk about the Genpei War was I've been kind of fascinated with this time in history, because Shinran is smack dab in the middle of that. And the changes that are occurring in Japan at that time affected him, I believe, affected him deeply. I mean, the Fujiwara clan was one of these families whose influence and power was waning, and they were kind of displaced. And in part, may have been the reason that Shinran ended up on Hieiza. But he stayed there for 20 years and eventually left Hieiza because of all the in part because of the kinds of things that were going on within the established Buddhist monasteries. Its relationship to the imperial household, it wasn't uncommon for the emperor to retire to to monasteries and to be in control of the imperial household from that retired position. But it's a very interesting time. I hope we can have another chance to kind of explore that. As the government changed from the imperial household to after the Genpei War, the center of government was established in Kamakura. Minamoto had already had something, a kind of an office there. It was more than just a kind of an office, like we think of an office, but was already established there where his influence and organization was kind of centered in Kamakura. And at the end of the Genpei War, he moved the center of government to Kamakura and established a Bakufu. He became the first shogun, the individual who basically ran the government of Japan, no longer centered on the aristocracy or the imperial household, but moved to Kamakura, where Minamoto established the Bakufu and the 10th government. And that was in 1192, so Shinran was what, 21, I guess. Is that 21? Yeah, 21 when that occurred. And kind of in the middle of his stay in Hiezan, a tremendous change in government, in resources, in society. And in this kind of a turbulent time is when Shinran's personality, when Shinran's understanding is taking shape. And that he wasn't distant from all that was taking place. I wanted to share with you a letter from the collection of letters entitled the Gosho Soku Shu. So this is not the Matosho, which we really normally read from, but this is from, again, the Gosho Soku Shu. And in this letter, there is a paragraph kind of mixed in with the letter, but it says, "I'm sorry to hear about Nyu Shimbo and others, that they have been long detained in Kamakura is regrettable. Some complication must have arisen now, causing their delay. There is nothing I can do about that." When I read that the first time, I thought, oh, maybe they were in Kamakura, they ran out of money, they had to find something to do. But now thinking about the Bakufu, the influences that the Bakufu has on the Nembutsu, and it was in 1235, the shogunate kind of makes an edict to take greater control of Nembutsu followers. So it's not like something that is not intimately connected to what he is doing. Here in this brief paragraph, Shinran's followers are being detained in Kamakura. I'm not sure when this letter was written, there's no date on it, but certainly it's after he's returned to Kyoto. He's using letters to communicate, to share information. He returns to Kyoto in 1235, which is when this edict by the shogunate was made. So his life is impacted. His understanding. He's not free to kind of do whatever he wants to do. If you remember, he was sent into exile because of things that were going on within the imperial household, within the the established religions of that time, and this budding Nembutsu following under Honen, because of the circumstances that he was sent, and Honen along, sent Honen as well, sent into exile. But this relationship between the government and the Nembutsu and Shinran and Honen is not some kind of a brief encounter, but it is, I think, an important influence on the way that Shinran understands his place, certainly his place in society, and what the Nembutsu might have to offer individuals who are also caught up in this society at that time. So anyway, things to think about, kind of as an aside from my intended Dharma talk this morning. Again, it is wonderful that we have been able to be joined by Mikame Sensei here at the Betsuin. We look forward to many more years of her sharing the Dharma with us. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for this morning's service. Please take care. It is very hot. It's going to be 94, I think, here in San Jose. And with the rain, the brief rain that we had this morning, humidity is going to be up again. And that humidity, along with the heat, can be certainly a concern. Please take care. And unfortunately, we still have to shelter in place, wear a mask when you have to go out. Please take care of your health, take care of one another. Thank you again very much for being here this morning. We will hopefully you'll join us again next week. Thank you very much. As we close, will you please join in Gassho and Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much, everyone.